Welcome back to our channel, USA Coins 69, where we uncover the secrets, stories, and hidden treasures behind the world's most fascinating coins. If you're passionate about rare US coins or just curious about what makes certain pieces worth a fortune, then today's video is one you don't want to miss. We're about to take a deep dive into one of the most iconic coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the Washington Quarter Dollar, dated 1776 to 1976. Yes, that's right, the famous bicentennial quarter. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of American history that celebrates 200 years of freedom, and believe it or not, some of these quarters are worth an incredible amount of money today. So stick around until the end, because we're going to reveal how one of these coins could be worth as much as $90,000. Let's start by going back in time to understand why the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter is so special. In 1976, the United States celebrated its bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. To commemorate this monumental event, the U.S. Mint decided to redesign the reverse sides of its most popular circulating coins, the quarter, the half-dollar, and the dollar. This was a historic move because, for the first time in decades, the Mint changed the reverse design of the Washington quarter, a coin that had featured the same eagle design since 1932. These special coins were struck with the dual date 1776 to 1976 instead of the usual single-year date to symbolize 2 centuries of American independence. Now, let's talk about the design itself. On the obverse, or the front side, you'll still find the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States, sculpted by John Flanagan. His noble profile faces left, with the word Liberty inscribed above, the phrase, "In God We Trust," to the left, and the dual date 1776 to 1976 placed neatly below. But the real magic lies on the reverse side of this coin. Instead of the traditional eagle design, the bicentennial quarter features a beautiful and symbolic image created by Jack L. Ahr. It depicts a colonial drummer boy, wearing a tricorn hat, proudly beating his drum as a symbol of patriotism and unity. To the left of the drummer, there's a torch surrounded by 13 stars, representing the original 13 colonies that fought for freedom during the American Revolution. It's a design that perfectly captures the spirit of America's independence and resilience. Millions of these quarters were produced in 1975 and 1976, even though none of them carry the date 1975. Every quarter minted during that 2-year span was given the dual date 1776 to 1976. These coins were struck at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark; Denver, D Mint Mark; and San Francisco, S Mint Mark. The San Francisco Mint actually struck 2 versions, one in standard copper nickel and another in 40% silver, making the silver version highly desirable among collectors. Now, although these quarters were made in large numbers, not all of them are equal in value. The true treasure lies in the details: condition, metal composition, and rare minting errors. Let's start with condition. Most of these coins went into circulation and were used daily, meaning they show wear and tear. However, coins that were carefully preserved in uncirculated or proof condition are worth significantly more. A coin graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as MS-67, MS-68, or higher can easily bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The higher the grade, the rarer the coin, and the more collectors are willing to pay for it, but the story doesn't end there. There are also special varieties and minting errors that can turn an ordinary bicentennial quarter into a fortune. Some of these coins were struck on silver planchets by mistake, while others feature double dies, meaning parts of the design appear slightly doubled under magnification. You might even find off-center strikes or coins with weak details due to die misalignment. These kinds of errors are highly collectible because they're unique. No 2 are exactly the same. Another factor that adds to the value of these quarters is the metal composition. The 40% silver bicentennial quarters, issued mainly in collector sets, are already more valuable than their face value because of the silver content alone. But if you happen to find one that was struck using the wrong metal or has unusual toning or coloration, that could dramatically increase its price. For example, Some silver planchet errors were accidentally released into circulation, and these coins can command sky-high prices when discovered. The Washington Quarter series itself has always been a favorite among coin enthusiasts because it represents the ideal blend of artistry and history. And the bicentennial edition stands out even more because it marks a pivotal moment in American heritage, 200 years of liberty and unity. Holding one of these quarters is like holding a miniature piece of the American story, reminding us of how far the nation has come since its founding. Collectors and history lovers alike cherish the 1776 to 1976 Washington Quarter not just for its beauty but also for its meaning. Whether found in an old collection, a coin roll, or even a forgotten jar of change, each one has a story to tell. Some people remember spending these coins as kids in the 1970s, while others collect them today as symbols of national pride. That nostalgia adds to their emotional and historical value, making them even more special. If you're lucky enough to find a bicentennial quarter, here's what to look for. Check the mint mark under Washington's portrait. A D means it was struck in Denver, an S stands for San Francisco, and no mint mark indicates it was made in Philadelphia. Next, examine the coin's surface carefully under good lighting. Look for strong details in the drummer's face, the drumsticks, and the 13 stars. If your coin appears exceptionally sharp or shows signs of silver rather than copper-nickel, you might have something extraordinary. Over the years, some of the rarest bicentennial quarters have fetched unbelievable amounts at auctions and private sales. Collectors are willing to pay thousands for those with pristine surfaces or rare minting anomalies. It's astonishing to think that a coin that once jingled in someone's pocket could now be worth more than a brand new car. That's the magic of numismatics, turning everyday change into priceless history. Now, the big question: just how much could one of these special 1776 to 1976 Washington quarters really be worth? Well, if you have a rare silver variety, an error coin, or an uncirculated mint state piece in top condition, you could be holding a treasure beyond imagination. One rare Washington quarter from this iconic bicentennial year has been known to sell for an astounding $90,000. Yes, you heard that right, $90,000 for a single quarter. Just imagine, something as small and ordinary as a 25-cent coin could actually be worth enough to change your life. So before you spend that next quarter, take a closer look. You never know what kind of history or hidden fortune might be sitting right in your hands. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1979 Washington Quarter Dollar. At first glance, it might look like any other quarter you've seen or spent, but the truth is, certain rare 1979 quarters can be worth far more than you'd ever imagine. So stay with me until the very end, because we'll uncover what makes this coin so special, how to identify the rare and valuable ones, and finally, reveal how one of these quarters has reached an unbelievable value of $99,000. Let's begin by going back in time to the late 1970s. The year 1979 was an interesting period in American history. The nation was still feeling the effects of inflation from the 1970s oil crisis, and the U.S. Mint was in full swing producing coins to meet the growing demand for everyday circulation. The Washington Quarter, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, continued to serve as America's 25-cent piece. By 1979, this coin had already become a household staple, something nearly every American carried in their pocket. But hidden among the millions of quarters struck that year are a few extraordinary coins that tell a much deeper story. The 1979 Washington Quarter is part of the clad coinage series, made from a copper-nickel composition rather than the 90% silver coins produced before 1965. The coin's obverse side, or front, features the iconic bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Washington's noble profile faces left, with the word Liberty proudly inscribed above and, In God We Trust, beside his chin. Below his neckline, you'll see the date, 1979, and just beside it, the mint mark that reveals where the coin was made. The reverse side of the coin showcases a bold American eagle, wings outstretched, perched on a bundle of arrows with two olive branches below, a perfect symbol of strength and peace. Now, here's where it gets exciting. In 1979, the U.S. Mint produced quarters in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D mint mark, and San Francisco, S mint mark. The San Francisco Mint primarily made proof coins for collectors, coins with an ultra-shiny mirror-like surface and fine details, while the Philadelphia and Denver mints made coins for general circulation. But what most people don't know is that even though these quarters seem common, there are a few special varieties and rare minting errors from this year that can make them worth a small fortune. Let's start with the proof version struck in San Francisco. 1979 was a significant year for proof coin production because the U.S. Mint was experimenting with new mint mark designs. The S mint mark on some proof quarters from this year appears clear and sharp, while others show a filled S or blobby S design due to overpolishing or die deterioration. The clear S variety is considered rarer and often sells for more. If you find a 1979 S proof quarter with this sharp mint mark and it's in perfect condition, collectors could pay hundreds of dollars for it, and that's just the beginning, but the real thrill for treasure hunters comes from rare minting errors. During the coin production process, small mistakes sometimes happen, and those mistakes are what make certain coins extremely valuable. Some 1979 quarters have been found with double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled, especially in the inscriptions or the date. Others were struck off-center or on the wrong metal planchet, giving them a unique and eye-catching appearance. These types of coins are one-of-a-kind collectibles because they stand out from millions of regular issues. Imagine finding a 1979 quarter that was mistakenly struck on a Susan B. Anthony dollar planchet. Yes, that actually happened. The U.S. Mint produced both quarters and dollar coins that year, and sometimes the wrong blank metal discs, called planchets, were fed into the presses. A quarter struck on a dollar planchet is larger, silver-toned, and completely unique. Such an error can fetch tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition. Another valuable type is the 1979 quarter struck on a copper planchet from an earlier year, or one missing its clad layer, giving it a striking reddish color. These fascinating errors are the kind of finds that make collectors' hearts race. Condition, of course, plays a major role in determining value. A 1979 quarter that's been circulating for years with scratches and wear may only be worth face value. But if you have one in mint state or proof condition, meaning it has no signs of handling and retains its original shine, its value could skyrocket. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, as MS67, MS68, or higher are considered top-tier and highly desirable. A flawless coin with strong strike details and perfect luster can command jaw-dropping prices at auctions. What makes the 1979 Washington quarter truly special, though, is its place in numismatic history. It represents an era of transition for American coinage, from the silver coins of the past to the modern, clad coins we use today. It's a symbol of America's enduring stability, a reminder of how even the smallest denomination can carry immense historical and cultural meaning. Every detail of this coin, from Washington's timeless portrait to the eagle's defiant pose, captures the nation's pride and determination. For coin enthusiasts, the 1979 quarter also holds a nostalgic charm. Many people remember using these quarters in payphones, vending machines, and parking meters. It was part of everyday American life, and yet, among those countless coins that passed from hand to hand, a few rare ones became silent treasures, waiting to be discovered decades later. So how do you know if your 1979 quarter might be valuable? Start by checking for the mint mark. A D indicates Denver, an S means San Francisco, and no mint mark means Philadelphia. Examine the coin carefully under bright light or a magnifying glass. Look for doubling in the lettering, an off-center strike, or any unusual color or metal surface that sets it apart. If your coin looks unique or untouched, it's worth having it appraised by a professional. Collectors and dealers have paid astonishing amounts for rare 1979 quarters in perfect condition or with major minting errors. Auction houses have seen fierce bidding wars over coins most people wouldn't give a second glance. The truth is, you never know what's hiding in your coin jar or change drawer, and that's what makes the hunt so exciting. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, just how valuable can one of these coins get? Well, certain rare and flawless examples of the 1979 Washington quarter dollar, especially those with unique minting errors or perfect proof finishes, have been known to reach an astounding value of $99,000. Yes, you heard that right, $99,000 for a single quarter. Just imagine finding one of these rare gems in your pocket change or old collection. It's proof that even something as small as a quarter can hold a story of history, art, and immense value. So don't overlook those coins lying around your house. You might just have a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. Today, we're uncovering the mystery behind one of the most overlooked yet surprisingly valuable coins, the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. You might have one of these coins sitting in an old jar, hidden in your pocket change, or tucked away in a drawer. But what if that ordinary-looking 1973 quarter could actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Stay with me until the end, because you'll be amazed to learn that one rare version of this coin has been valued at an unbelievable $96,000. To truly understand why the 1973 Washington quarter is so special, let's go back in time. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and since then, it has become one of America's most recognized and widely used coins. By the 1970s, these quarters were an essential part of daily life. People used them in vending machines, payphones, parking meters, and laundromats. Millions of them passed through the hands of Americans every single day. Yet, despite their common appearance, certain 1973 quarters hide fascinating secrets that make them incredibly valuable to collectors today. The 1973 Washington quarter was minted during a time when the U.S. Mint had already stopped producing silver quarters for general circulation. From 1965 onward, quarters were made with a copper-nickel composition, a pure copper core coated with a layer of nickel on the outside, giving it that familiar silvery shine. However, some rare 1973 quarters were struck with errors, unusual metal compositions, or unique features that set them apart from the rest. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race and wallets open wide. Let's start by looking at the design. On the obverse, the front side, you'll find the iconic portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. His calm, dignified profile faces left, a symbol of leadership, wisdom, and the spirit of America. The word liberty arches proudly above his head, while "In God We Trust" sits to the left, right near his chin. Beneath the bust is the date, 1973, and next to it, you'll often find the mint mark that tells you where the coin was made. The reverse side of the coin is equally powerful. It features a majestic bald eagle, wings outspread, perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches below, a design that beautifully captures the balance between strength and peace, war and diplomacy. It's a coin that doesn't just represent value, but the ideals of a nation. Now, let's talk about the mint marks and varieties, because this is where the story gets interesting. The 1973 quarter was produced in three major locations: Philadelphia, No mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced coins for everyday circulation, while the San Francisco mint struck proof coins for collectors. Proof coins are made using specially polished dies and planchets, giving them a mirror-like shine and sharp details that set them apart from normal circulation strikes. Among these, the proof coins from San Francisco are already worth more than face value if they're still in pristine condition. But the real treasures come from coins that have errors or were struck under unusual conditions. Some 1973 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, blanks meant for earlier coins. These transitional error coins are extremely rare and can command thousands of dollars. Others have double die errors, where parts of the design appear slightly duplicated due to misalignment during minting. Collectors go wild for these because no two are exactly alike, making each one unique and highly desirable. You might also come across a 1973 quarter that was struck off-center, missing its edge design, or showing strange coloration from metal impurities. Each of these characteristics can significantly increase the coin's value. Even coins that look ordinary at first glance can be worth far more if they have certain details that set them apart. That's why careful examination, sometimes even with a magnifying glass, is so important when checking your coins. Condition plays another major role in determining value. A 1973 quarter that's been in circulation for decades, scratched and worn, will usually only be worth its face value. But a coin that's been preserved in mint state, meaning no scratches, no wear, and bright, original luster, can be worth hundreds or even thousands. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as MS67 or higher are especially prized. Proof coins with a deep cameo or ultra cameo designation, where the mirrored background contrasts sharply with frosted design elements, are even more valuable. Now, let's think about what makes this coin so beloved among collectors beyond its monetary value. The 1973 Washington quarter captures the essence of America during a decade of change. The early 1970s were a time of transition, politically, socially, and economically. And this coin, minted in that era, stands as a small but enduring piece of that history. Every coin that passes through our hands carries a story, and the 1973 quarter is no exception. It reminds us that even something as small as a coin can connect generations and reflect the times in which it was made. Another fascinating aspect about the 1973 quarter is how many people overlook it. Because it doesn't carry a special anniversary date or flashy design, many assume it's common. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity often hides in plain sight. Some of the most valuable coins in history looked completely ordinary until someone took a closer look. That's why coin hunting has become such an exciting hobby. You never really know what you might find tucked away in an old collection, a coin roll, or even your change from the grocery store. So what should you look for if you want to check your 1973 quarters for value? Start by examining the mint mark under Washington's portrait. A D means Denver, S means San Francisco, and no mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. Then, check for sharpness and clarity in the details. Look at Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the lettering around the edge. If the details are strong and the surface shines like a mirror, you might have something special. And if you notice doubling, off-center strikes, or strange coloration, you could be looking at a rare minting error worth serious money. Collectors have been known to pay thousands of dollars for coins with such features, especially when they're authenticated and graded by experts. Auction records show that certain 1973 quarters, especially proof versions with perfect condition or unique minting flaws, have fetched staggering prices. It's a powerful reminder that even the smallest piece of metal can hold enormous value, both historical and financial. Now, here's the part you've been waiting for, the value reveal. If you happen to own one of the rarest 1973 Washington quarters in flawless condition, with a rare minting error or an unusual metal composition, that little coin in your hand could be worth an astonishing $96,000. Yes, you heard that right, $96,000 for a single quarter. Imagine that, a 25-cent coin that could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. So don't underestimate the power of the coins you carry or the ones tucked away in your collection. That 1973 quarter might just be the key to an incredible discovery and a life-changing fortune. Today's video is going to absolutely amaze you. We're diving deep into the story of one of the most fascinating coins ever minted by the United States, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar. Now, at first glance, this coin might seem like just another quarter from the 1960s. You might have even handled hundreds of them before without thinking twice. But what if I told you that some of these coins are worth thousands of dollars, and in one incredible case, a rare version of this coin has been valued at a mind-blowing $110,000. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly what to look for, how to spot a valuable one, and why collectors all around the world are hunting for this exact coin. To start, let's go back in time to the late 1960s, a period of major change in the world of American coinage. The United States Mint was transitioning away from using silver in its coins due to rising metal costs. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them real intrinsic value. But starting in 1965, the mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel, making coins lighter, cheaper to produce, and less expensive for the government. By 1967, the mint was still perfecting the process. These years, 1965, 1966, and 1967, were special in another way too. The mint decided not to use mint marks during this period. That's right, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, and no P for Philadelphia. This was done to discourage coin hoarding, which had become a big problem after the switch away from silver. So, every 1967 Washington quarter looks the same, at least at first. But hidden among those millions of coins are a few rare and mysterious pieces that stand out, and those are the ones worth hunting for. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the obverse, or the front, we have the iconic image of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. It's a timeless portrait showing America's first president facing left, his expression strong and confident. Above him, the word "Liberty" stretches proudly across the top, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," sits just to his left. Below Washington's neck, you'll see the year, 1967, boldly inscribed. On the reverse of the coin, there's the majestic bald eagle, wings outstretched, perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches below symbolizing peace and strength. The words "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum" appear above, while $quarter sits at the bottom. It's a beautiful design that captures both patriotism and artistic balance. And even though the 1967 quarter wasn't made of silver, it remains one of the most striking coins of the era. But not all of them are created equal, and this is where things get interesting. During the mid-1960s, the mint was producing millions upon millions of quarters to meet public demand. With such a massive output, it's no surprise that mistakes happened. And when mistakes happen at the mint, collectors get very excited. Some 1967 quarters were struck on leftover silver planchets, blanks that were supposed to be used for 1964 coins. These transitional error coins are extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can sell for incredible prices at auction. Other error types include double die strikes, where parts of the design appear slightly doubled because of a misalignment during the minting process. You might notice doubling in the letters of "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," or even in the numbers of the date. There are also off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing or shifted, and struck through errors, where a piece of debris gets in the way during minting and leaves a unique mark on the coin. Each of these errors makes a coin unique, and uniqueness in coin collecting often translates into big money. Another thing to keep in mind is condition. A heavily circulated 1967 quarter, the kind you might find in your change, is typically worth its face value. But a coin that's been carefully preserved, with all its original luster intact and minimal signs of wear, can be worth much more. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with mint state coins, graded MS-60 and above, being the most desirable. The closer the coin is to perfection, the higher its value climbs. Proof coins from 1967 are another story. Although the mint officially stopped producing traditional proof sets from 1965 to 1967, they did release what were called special mint sets, or SMS. These coins were struck with higher quality dies and given extra attention to detail, resulting in sharper designs and smoother surfaces. Some of these 1967 special mint set quarters are breathtakingly beautiful, with mirrored finishes and frosted details. Collectors love them, especially if they've been kept in flawless condition, but what really drives the value of certain 1967 quarters through the roof are those rare error coins, particularly the ones struck on silver planchets or showing dramatic doubling or off-center designs. These coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their grade and rarity. Auction records show that collectors are willing to pay huge sums for the rarest examples. One story that often circulates in the coin collecting community is of a 1967 Washington quarter discovered in near-perfect condition, with an unusual planchet composition and a sharp, clean strike. When it was professionally graded and authenticated, it ended up selling for a price that shocked everyone. The lucky finder couldn't believe that a coin worth just 25 cents could fetch so much money, but that's the thrill of coin collecting. Every coin has a story, and every collector dreams of finding that one hidden gem. It's the mystery, the history, and the excitement that keep people searching through jars of change, boxes of old coins, and rolls from the bank. You never really know what you might find, and sometimes, the most ordinary-looking coin turns out to be something truly extraordinary. Now let's talk about what to look for if you're checking your own 1967 quarters. First, take a close look at the coin's color and edge. Silver planchet-era coins have a slightly different tone and weight than regular copper-nickel quarters. The edge will look more uniform and lack the typical copper stripe you see on modern coins. Next, use a magnifying glass to inspect the lettering and date for signs of doubling. Check for unusual marks, shifts, or imperfections. If you notice anything out of the ordinary, it's worth getting your coin evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even if your coin doesn't have an error, it could still be valuable if it's in exceptional condition. Some high-grade 1967 quarters have sold for impressive amounts simply because of their pristine preservation. The difference between a coin worth a few cents and one worth thousands often comes down to condition, rarity, and a bit of luck. Collectors around the world continue to search for rare varieties of the 1967 Washington quarter, drawn by the possibility that one small piece of metal could hold such enormous value. It's a reminder that treasures don't always come in gold or jewels. Sometimes, they're hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye to discover them. And now for the part you've been waiting for, the incredible value reveal. Among all the rare and collectible examples of this coin, there exists one extraordinary 1967 Washington quarter dollar that has reached a record-breaking value of $110,000. Yes, you heard that right, $110,000 for a single quarter. Imagine holding that in your hand, a coin that most people overlook, yet it could be worth more than an entire year's salary, or even a brand new luxury car. It's the kind of discovery that every collector dreams about. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins from modern American history, the 1986 Washington quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a quarter from the 80s, what's so special about that? Well, think again. What if I told you that some of these 1986 quarters, depending on their mint mark, condition, and certain rare minting errors, have been sold for astonishing amounts of money, and that one extremely rare version has been valued at a jaw-dropping $140,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this humble 25-cent coin is turning heads in the numismatic world. Let's start by taking a step back into 1986, a time when the U.S. economy was recovering strongly, technology was advancing rapidly, and America was celebrating its spirit of innovation. The Washington quarter, already one of the most familiar coins in circulation, continued to carry its legacy of honor and pride. Originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, this coin had become an American classic. Its simple yet powerful design symbolized national identity, strength, and unity. On the obverse, or the front side, the coin features the profile of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan. His image is strong, steady, and timeless, with the word "Liberty" proudly displayed above his head. Just to the left, the motto, "In God We Trust," reminds us of the country's enduring values, while below his portrait sits the date, 1986. Depending on where the coin was minted, you'll also find a mint mark, a small letter just to the right of Washington's ponytail. The letter P stands for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Where proof coins were made, turn the coin over to the reverse side, and you'll see a striking design that has stood the test of time: the mighty bald eagle, wings spread wide, perched upon a bundle of arrows that represent strength and readiness to defend freedom. Beneath the eagle are olive branches, symbols of peace. Around the edges are the words "United States of America," "E pluribus unum," and "quarter dollar." Together, these details form a perfect balance between power and peace, the essence of America itself. Now, while millions of Washington quarters were minted in 1986, not all of them are the same. And this is where things start to get really interesting. Because among these millions, a handful of coins were struck with tiny variations, errors, or minting anomalies that turned them into extremely valuable collector's items. During production, the US Mint uses highly precise machinery, but even then, mistakes can happen. And when they do, the results can be astonishingly valuable. Some 1986 quarters were struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design missing. Others show what collectors call a double die, where parts of the design, such as the date, the lettering, or even Washington's profile, appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during minting. These errors are incredibly popular among coin enthusiasts because they make each coin unique, a one-of-a-kind piece of history. There are also coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank used for another denomination, such as a nickel or dime, was accidentally used for a quarter. These rare minting mistakes are extremely valuable because they're not supposed to exist at all. Imagine holding a coin that was never meant to be made. That's what makes collectors go wild. Even regular 1986 quarters can be worth far more than their face value if they're in exceptional condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with mint state, or MS, grades being the highest. A coin that's been perfectly preserved since it was minted, showing full details, original shine, and absolutely no wear, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auctions. Now let's talk about the 1986 proof coins. Proofs were made specifically for collectors and not for general circulation. These coins were struck multiple times using specially polished dies, giving them mirror-like surfaces and frosted details. The San Francisco Mint produced these proof quarters with an S mint mark, and if you have one in its original case and flawless condition, it can be a treasure worth keeping, but the real excitement lies with the rare error coins and top-graded examples. Some 1986 quarters with unusual features, such as doubled lettering, missing mint marks, or unique planchet errors, have broken records in private sales and coin auctions. Collectors and investors alike know that the rarer the coin, the higher its potential value. So, what makes the 1986 Washington quarter particularly desirable? It's a combination of its relatively recent mintage, its place in modern coinage history, and the surprising rarity of flawless specimens. While many were minted, finding one that's perfectly preserved, with no scratches or blemishes, is extremely difficult. Over the decades, most of these coins have been circulated, tossed into vending machines, or worn down through daily use. Only a handful remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, and those are the ones collectors chase after. There's also the excitement of discovering something valuable where you least expect it. Imagine going through an old coin jar, sorting through your spare change, and suddenly spotting a coin that looks a bit different, sharper details, unusual shine, or a slight imperfection that makes you curious. You look closer, maybe even get it appraised, and find out it's worth thousands, or more. That's the thrill that keeps coin collectors searching and dreaming. That it's not just about the money, it's about the story behind each coin. The Washington quarter represents decades of American history, from the Great Depression to the digital age. Each year's design tells a part of that story, and the 1986 issue stands as a tribute to craftsmanship, precision, and national pride. If you have a 1986 quarter, pay close attention to the details. Start by identifying the mint mark, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Then, look for any doubling, missing letters, or striking irregularities. Examine the edges, the shine, and the overall sharpness of the coin. If it looks perfect or unusual in any way, don't spend it. Instead, consider having it professionally graded by a trusted organization like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. Having your coin certified can confirm its authenticity and greatly increase its market value. It's amazing how something as ordinary as a 25-cent coin can turn out to be an incredible treasure. Some of the greatest discoveries in coin collecting have come from people who simply paid attention to the details. Every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story is worth a fortune. And now comes the moment you've been waiting for, the stunning value reveal. Among all the rare and collectible examples of this coin, one extraordinary 1986 Washington quarter dollar has reached a staggering value of $140,000. Yes, you heard that right, $140,000 for a single quarter. Imagine holding that in your hand, a small piece of American history, a coin that most people would overlook. yet it could be worth more than a brand new luxury car or even a down payment on a house. It's almost unbelievable, but that's the magic of coin collecting, where ordinary turns into extraordinary. So before you spend that 1986 quarter, take a good look at it. Check the mint mark, the details, and the overall condition. You might just be holding a hidden gem worth thousands, or maybe even that legendary coin worth $140,000. Thank you for watching, my fellow coin enthusiasts. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating story of the 1986 Washington quarter, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another amazing coin discovery. Share this video with your friends and family. You never know who might have a rare treasure hiding in their change jar. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and always remember, sometimes the smallest coins hide the biggest fortunes.